Hey student nurses and new grad RNs, this is Nurse X Tina introducing you to Preceptor Torrey. Hey girl, and new grad nurse Viktor, and they're going to teach us about CVPs.
All right, patient care activated. Viktor 2020. Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know we may have done this a time or two before, but let's just go through it one more time for everybody to put the CVP together. So you gathered your supplies. We have our transducer kit, have our bag of saline, we have everything we need. So go ahead and grab the bag, and I'm gonna have you spike it with the transducer kit. Just tell me what you remember about spiking it, the important thing you were supposed to do when you do that.
So we have to burp the air out of the bag, so it's pretty much get the air out.
Used that one before.
Here we go. So this is aseptic. Important to keep this from touching any other surface. And with the bag still upside down, we're gonna get the air out.
This. See if this
Press the
works.
wings, get the
There
air
we
out.
go.
There we are.
All right.
All right.
Okay. So now you're free to
No
hang
air
it up
in
and
the
put
bag.
it in your pressure bag
All right, pressure bag.
to kind of get it out of the way so we can move on to priming our line.
There is a little clip inside of the pressure bag where we hang our bag here. All right.
Okay, so now we'll move on to getting ready to prime it. So we need to do what with our pressure bag real quick?
We're gonna inflate our pressure bag up to, so if you forget, it tells you how to do it in the back there.
We'll just pump to 300 because that's always a safe number when you see the green. And if you have no idea, sometimes I just pump it until it starts feeling firm. Right now, there's not a lot of pressure on the bag, so we'll just keep going. We're almost there.
Almost there,
That looks
almost
great.
there.
Okay, let's move on to priming the rest of the line. So we have a couple ports we have to go through here. So you have these extra caps in here. So the first thing you're gonna do is you find this little transducer device. These little white wings are kind of like your main thing you need to do this. So when you push those, that's gonna essentially prime the line through to our first port here.
Alright.
So go ahead and kind of stick that into here because we will get saline coming out. So you're gonna prime that first one. And right
Press these
now,
in, and there it goes.
this is off to the patient, and so this is our first port. So if you take that white cap off, I'm actually gonna have you switch the caps.
Why are we switching the caps?
So somebody told me one time to switch them. I want to say that there's like a hole in it, like fenestrated, which means there's a hole. Let's find out real quick.
Let's see.
I think that this was the one that came with it. Somebody just told me to do this before. Oh, it does.
Yep.
Okay. So we're gonna take that off, and these yellow ones, even though they look, that other yellow one, even though they look like they have a hole in them, they don't. I know it's weird. So here's the one that it comes with. So you're gonna take the white part off and just attach that yellow, and we're gonna move on to the next port. So now you can turn that off to the
Shutting this
port,
off. Okay.
and we'll move on to the next one. So move on down. We're off to the patient again, down here, and we're gonna do the same thing. So you're gonna take that white cap off, prime it down.
Pressing the wings.
go.
All right.
And this is perfect because we already got our air out, so we know we have no chance of any air bubbles in this line right now. So we'll go off to the port again, and this is the portion that's going to connect to the patient. So this one is actually a lot harder. In person, when you feel this is a lot harder than everything above it. So this actually kind of squishy and up there, and this is hard, so you won't get confused. So this is what's going to connect to the patient.
All right. It's all primed.
So what port of the central line would we be connecting this to?
So we're going to connect this to the brown port, which is the most distal, correct?
That's right.
Good job.
Okay, and since we can use this transducer for many things, you want to label it to make sure you know what it is. In this particular case, we're doing a CVP, so we're going to label it at the site and then up here on our back. So right now we've connected it to our brown port. We're ready to go. We're going to connect it to our monitor.
All right.
So this just looks like a telephone cord. Connect it. Put this up on the monitor.
So go to the red port.
And then go ahead and turn your monitor on. So it's already going to bring something up. I don't know if you've seen this before, but the new one that you probably don't recognize is that red one. So go ahead and tap that, and then it's going to come up with some options under label. So the label is just what we're actually measuring.
Art. PAP. PIP. What?
So yeah, there's definitely a lot of new acronyms on there. So just remember what it is we're measuring. So we're doing CVP.
CVP
Yeah, so
today.
pick that.
All right.
All right, and we're in. So you can now get ready to zero it. So before you measure anything on a patient, you have to zero it. So we have to put that transducer somewhere before we get our reading. Do you remember where it goes?
That's the phlebistatic excess.
That's right.
Good job.
Yeah.
Just a fancy way of saying.
This fourth intercostal mid-axillary is what.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right about
That's
there.
right. Okay, so we've placed it there on our patient, and now we're ready to zero. So we're gonna move on over to this part you used earlier. You're gonna go ahead and open it up again. Sometimes people do this just to be fancy. They want to squirt.
Turn it off
So,
to the patient,
yes,
right?
off to the patient.
Off to the patient again.
Open that up. Do an extra little prime, and then we'll get ready to zero. So go ahead and leave that off for now, and we're gonna hit zero on the monitor.
All right.
And you're gonna wait for 2 beeps.
Patiently.
Okay,
Thank
patiently
you.
waiting.
All
Now we
right.
got that second beep. We can put the cap back on, turn it off to this valve, and we're back on to the patient. So essentially we would then get a reading.